I'm James Kuntz. I'm the owner of Tarrytown Roofing. We operate out of Austin, Texas, but we're doing commercial properties in multiple states at this point.
I'm Joey Garcia. I'm the residential sales manager for Tarrytown Roofing.
I'm Jeffrey Jones, president of Tarrytown Roofing.
I think it was probably one of your ads is where we initially found about Business 411, seeing you guys at multiple conferences and trade shows, and always heard good things. There's a lot of gurus out there, fake gurus, and you guys just back up what you say you're going to do, which is important to us.
I think the biggest thing was our growth was very rapid. And when you grow that fast, coming from a consultant background, you have to put things in place to support that growth. And we weren't able to do that right away. And we kept getting further and further behind on getting some of that stuff done. So being able to get linked with the university and get some of the information and procedures and processes put in place that it was taking us a long time to develop helped get us to the next level throughout the end of last year.
Piggybacking off of what Jeff just touched on, the SOPs have been monumental. That takes a lot of time away and allows us to get back into the field and focus on the sales.
I think a lot of people look at SOPs and they're like, it's a document that's going to go in a drawer and no one's ever going to know what that SOP is, right? And so what really sold me is putting those SOPs into a learning management system. Easy, digestible information for new salespeople to come into the business, operations people to come into the business and know exactly what to do and self-learn, not just YouTube University. So I'd say the number one use case for Roof Team University at this point in time is we just had a hiring class. And so it's getting some of those people onboarded, right? We wanted to remove the amount of time that it took someone like Joey to develop some of these people on what our processes are in the business. We have a different CRM. We have a very different way of doing things. We're not just a door knocking organization. So that with that comes a lot more complexity. And so really just making sure that the onboarding process is super clean.
I think the next step really is to put into place the next kind of level of SOPs that we're putting together. That comes into the production, the pre-production, the production, post-production, and the follow-up. Because roofing is so structured and there's a certain order to the way things go, that's where these processes come into place. And it allows you to be productive and not worry about missing the steps along the way. So I think having those in place and really focusing now, once we got the sales side already taken care of, is going into the production side and really refining those processes.
We're operating more as a machine in each of their components and departments. And with that and the cogs in the wheel, you have to have good, clean handovers. And so, yeah, Jeffrey's spot on with that.
A lot of times when you're a growing company and you have people that know everything's going on in their head, so you can't just have processes and procedures in your head. Things get lost, people get frustrated, they don't always remember everything, and you may have it, but you got to communicate it to everybody on the team. And since we're such a team-oriented organization, we had to have that stuff in place, and it cut down on the time to create that by more than hours. You're talking days of work that would take to put that stuff together, that we were able to just refine a little bit, include it with the university information, and just have that stuff ready to go for the whole team. I think we were at 4 team members when we started, and now we'll be at 11 this week.
I think the content, right, it is top notch, right? And going into that level of detail and being able to take home some of these handbooks, right? You guys have given us some free information to dive into, like the 100 offers and things like that we can go and implement as soon as next week, right? Obviously, we've signed up for the Marketing 411, so super excited about that as well. But I talk a lot about proximity and our team. We don't want to bring people into the team, right, that aren't really adding value. And I think there's a lot of proximity and just like high-level people here, like with you, with Liz, with the entire team, Shaq, and just learning different pieces and picking up on different nuggets, right, and implementing those things.
I think a lot of that too, especially with bringing Joey on as a sales manager and giving him the opportunity to come out and do events like this. Being around other organizations, they don't always invest in their people, and you can't not do that. You have to continue to do that. And these events, not only does it help him grow and myself and James grow, but when we start listening to some of the questions that people have and we see some of the interaction, and you may have been down that road, so it gives you a chance to help somebody else, but also learn from somebody else who's going through the same stuff you are. So being here in person versus just either watching from home on video or not being here, it's monumental.
Yeah, piggybacking off of Jeff and James as well, the energy's been awesome. Everyone really is interested in bettering themselves and their businesses. There's a lot of feedback coming from other companies that are in the class, being able to actually ask direct questions to Liz, Shaq, whoever, That's been really helpful as well. But just being in a classroom setting, it also allows you to really dive deeper and really focus on the core concepts.
I don't think there was anything that we weren't going to. It was just making sure there was the right fit. Because not to say there's a lot of companies in the space that do it, but there's a lot of companies in general that talk about process management, process improvement. And we just needed to really have that one-on-one. We had that one-on-one early in, I think, October with Carlos, and then followed up with Liz. And once we went through those 2 meetings with Carlos and Liz, we were there with Carlos, almost like you had me at hello, but we still needed to see who else we were dating as well.
Absolutely. I think when you get burned enough times by marketing agencies or consultants and they say they're going to do one thing and they don't deliver upon that, you have a little bit of reserve and hesitation, but I don't think we ever felt that way the entire process. You guys have a great team and you back up what you say you're going to do. If you're going to put in the time and do the work, sign up. If you're not going to do anything, you're not going to implement anything, you're not going to treat it seriously and it's just going to sit on the shelf, you shouldn't invest in anything. But if you're going to do the work, absolutely run. It'll be the single most impactful thing to your business.
I agree with that. We've been very interactive with the entire staff, whether it's Kelly, Crystal, Liz, yourself, Jack. And every time we reach out, there's somebody there. And in fact, one time, it's a good example, I called in just for something random right before the last time we came into town, and I didn't leave a message. It was not a big deal. If I got a hold of somebody, I got a call back within 5 minutes, and they knew it was me. I didn't leave a voicemail or anything. It was, hey, Jeffrey, missed your call. What can we do for you? And it was just that kind of service, that kind of response makes it worthwhile. And you're going to get that in everything else they do. So I would not hesitate.
Yeah, I think my experience has been awesome as well. Anytime that I've had an email, it's actually shockingly responded to very quickly. And then just overall, some of the things that Business 411 offers, it's made my job incredibly straightforward and simple.